It's not really enjoyable to make music now. It takes a lot of practice. You need to get really good at an instrument or really good at a piece of production software. I think the majority of people don't enjoy the majority of the time they spend making music.
Tune AI is an AI-powered music creation platform that works like chatting with a professional music producer.
These AI tools make it super easy to create music, even if you've never touched a keyboard in your life.
Suno AI is an amazing platform that allows you to build amazing music with AI tools. You no longer need to have an amazing voice or a lot of different musical skills.
All right, so should we talk about the elephant in the room? AI has already replaced many different jobs in many different industries, and the music industry has definitely not been spared. In fact, Spotify declared that currently 28% of its library is AI-generated music. Deezer, on the other hand, claimed that 18% of its library is AI-generated, making it about 20,000 tracks per day. Just for a little bit of context here. And this is only to mention the fully AI-generated music, because in 2023, musicians were asked if they were using AI tools, and 60% of them claimed that they were using AI either to write, perform, produce, mix, or master their music. And this is, only what's officially declared, because we have cases of AI artists claiming to be humans. We saw the cases with the Velvet Sundown, but also lately Wings of Pegasus exposed a new AI artist called Ellis Scott, and these cases seem to just keep on coming. So with the current state of it, I think we have a few questions worth asking. First of all, over the past few years, how much music actually has some AI-generated content within it? Secondly, has AI destroyed music, or will it? And finally, us musicians, do we actually have to feel threatened by this new technology? So the first clip I showed on this video and this podcast is a little clip of the CEO of Suno, which is an AI music generating software, which is causing a lot of stir within the music industry at the moment, and just for being really, really good, actually. And I tried the latest version number 5, for the ones of you who still haven't had the chance to try it. So you don't have to. And I think if you like art and music, I do not advise you to try it. I found it extremely depressing. But anyway, here it is. Here is the content it generated, and along with the script. Nothing has been modified. It just is exactly as it came out of Suno. I asked firstly for some atmospheric and pretty math rock song. Then I asked for some old school heavy metal song talking about the danger of AI.
Whispers in the dark, data feeds the beast inside. No escape, nowhere to hide. Synthetic mind, it's watching you.
So not just it generated the music, it also generated the lyrics. And finally, I asked for some gypsy jazz. Yeah, it is that mind-blowingly good. and quite depressing. We are now at the level where it would be difficult for most people to tell the difference between an AI generated music and something made by humans. And my followers being mostly made out of musicians, I actually asked them as well what they thought about this whole AI thing within the music industry. And the result was kind of interesting. They all seem to think that AI destroyed the music industry and is destroying music currently. But they didn't feel like it was destroying the job of a musician, which I found very interesting, quite contradictory. But we're going to look into it in this podcast, and maybe we'll find some sense to it. So the first question I'd like to answer before we go any deeper in this subject is, can we talk about AI generated art? And I insist on the word art here. So if you've watched my latest video, I do talk about the definition of art in a popular way, official way, and also in a philosophical sense. If you've missed it, here is briefly the definition of art. And this is the official definition, by the way. The expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. And I'm going to insist on the words human creative skill and imagination. Therefore, according to this definition, art is exclusive to the human experience. AI not being human, we cannot talk about AI art. However, it's pretty good at mimicking it, that's for sure. So it's a little bit like sugar and aspartame for me. It looks like sugar, it roughly tastes like sugar, it feels like sugar, but it's not sugar. And it clearly doesn't have the same effect on the body. In fact, the body will still crave for sugar after having aspartame. And it's kind of the same here with art and whatever AI generates. However, I think we can agree that AI is pretty good at creating what falls under the definition of entertainment. And for reference, here is the definition: the act or process of providing pleasure, recreation, or amusement. And not just it is pretty good at creating this content, it's probably better than humans. I mean, some of this content is genuinely better than what humans can do. It's definitely faster and it's definitely cheaper. So I would qualify more the AI content being generated as entertainment box rather than in the art box. But a last point to really emphasize this is that art is supposed to be innovative, challenging, and not made to please an audience, but made to pass on a message and to make people grow in any kind of way, and maybe make people heal as well. I don't feel like AI has the capacity of being innovative and challenging when it is only recycling the content that is already been created by humans. It is also worth noting that AI currently based all of its creation on what has already been created by humans over the years. Currently, AI cannot create content on a subject on which there is no human data. So AI-generated entertainment is condemned to recycle previous ideas. And this is where you tell me, well, this is no difference from humans who get inspired by previous art and previous artists. And this is where I'd agree and disagree. I believe that good art can be inspired by someone or something that's been made before, but it also needs a little bit of innovation, something original and genuine. And I like to think that most artists nowadays are doing just that. Or do they? I like to believe that every society has the art it deserves. So let's have a look at what our society has been creating as art or even entertainment. I'm not even that difficult at this point. And what we can take from it. And I think we're going to be a lot more threatened to be replaced by AI once we analyze that. This past few years, we've observed a new surge in what I would call music recycling, but what other people call downright stealing. And the singer Ava Max is a perfect case study for this. So she's been using famous melodies from very famous previous work in her own music, without calling it a cover and without having legal actions taken against her.
Baby, now and then I think about me now. If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we would pop champagne and raise a toast.
And this is what they call interpolation. This is a new cool kid in town that a lot of pop music seem to have been using this past few years. Artists such as Sabrina Carpenter, Olivia Rodrigo, Dua Lipa, Kanye West, Doja Cat, all of those artists have been using this interpolation. Completely legally and completely shamelessly. I think we've always been inspired by previous works. It's something that is inevitable for any artist. You based your ideas on what's been already created before, but you try to make it your own way. You try to still be original in your ideas. And I think the music industry is always kind of shamed when an artist crossed the line and of inspiration and copied too much someone else's work. And although this has always been a line a bit difficult to draw sometimes, and I can think of the lawsuit of Pharrell Williams against the Marvin Gaye's family for the song Blurred Lines, in which I think there was clearly some heavy influence and inspiration, for sure, but there was technically no copying. But he still lost the case against the Marvin Gaye's family. So this is just to show that this line is in fact blurred. But I think that the music industry and audience in general has always shamed whoever just get too close to that line just to make sure we don't cross it. And I think that's healthy. But now it is completely shameless to downright copy. You don't copy in terms of cover when you just make your own redemption of something that's been created and you own it. You say, that's not my creation. I'm just giving my own version of it. And that is one type of work. But here they just appropriate a line, a very important line of someone else's work inside their music completely shamelessly. And so why is it now done so shamelessly? Well, you tell me. Maybe we just have no new ideas anymore. Maybe we are in a society in which we have a massive, deep lack of original ideas. Maybe we're just nostalgic of a time when quality was at the heart of music. Or maybe audiences are used to be served pre-digested previous ideas served as brand new content. And I mean, I have to say that it would be, in this capitalist world, it would be a little bit dumb for anyone to not use this trick, knowing that it is super easy and guaranteed to make money. As long as it sells, why on earth would they not do it? As an audience, don't you feel like paying for someone who's stealing someone else's idea and serve it to you as brand new? How are we not feeling fooled? Anyway, that's another subject probably for another video. But if current entertainers copy shamelessly other people's work, can we really blame a machine such as AI to do the same? And have we not actually made that process easier for an audience to accept AI to do it? And therefore, have we not made it easier for AI to replace us. And actually, I don't think that this is the only thing that we've done to make it easier for AI to replace us. Many people cannot seem to tell apart even earlier AI-generated music from recent human releases. So that got me thinking, what about we got this whole debate about AI a bit upside down? What if AI was not that good at sounding like a human, but that humans have been trying to sound like a machine for the past decades? And hear me out. Something that strikes me when I listen to AI-generated music is that it is overly produced and polished, very, very lush, with no imperfection, unless you're a musician and you can hear some imperfection in the production. And we can observe a similar thing in the visual content it creates. It feels like everyone's got a heavy filter on and looking very perfect and polished. Well, it's the same thing for the music it produces. It sounds very perfect and, well, quite machine-like. What I would even qualify of soulless. So if we go back to the 70s and 80s way of recording some of the most emblematic albums, a lot of those bands all played within one room, a few takes, picked the best one, did some editing to it, and that was the way it was recorded, with this organic feel of having all the musicians playing the music together at the same time. Now, most of the music we create is digitally recorded, or even worse, sometimes programmed as MIDI. But for whatever is actually performed digitally, it is then heavily edited to fit on the grid. And if we want to get a human feel to it, you can even humanize the quantizing. I mean, that we've gone that far. It is pretty ironic. But this is not the only way we try to sound like a machine. It's also the pitch. Everything is corrected with autotune or pitch corrected in one way or another. So much so now that even some genres of music use the autotune effect as the vocal effect they want on the vocals. Even live performances now are pitch corrected. And I mean, for that, Wings of Pegasus again is doing an absolutely amazing job exposing all of this so we can see the extent of this use. But that's not it. There is also the compression. I think we've never used this much compression in production of music than this past decade. In all genres of music, by the way. We use compression to increase the loudness of a track. The issue with using it too much is that if everything is loud, then nothing's loud. It's just logical. It's a contrast that makes it interesting. But the compression, the overuse of compression, limits the dynamics within one song and actually also removes this human and natural sounding dynamics within a song. And so with all of these tools, it looks like humans have been trying to sound too perfect, for whatever perfect means in this context, but also soulless and machine-like. Is this really the point of making music? Sounding perfect, yes, but basically sound like a machine and without soul? So that we can call it to be like, yeah, but the performance is absolutely perfect. There's nothing out of the way. There's nothing too quiet, too loud, a little bit too early, a little bit too late, so that it would actually sound human. So we've been doing this for decades, and then we wonder why a machine can reproduce it so easily. A little bit even faster and a lot cheaper than we can. Why if we just got this whole thing upside down? So yes, AI, unsurprisingly, can create the music that the music industry has been creating for the past decade for an audience that is used to consuming that exact type of music. Or let me rephrase this. AI is great at creating mechanical and soulless and meaningless music for an audience that doesn't seem to care. Streaming platforms and even labels would be dumb not to invest in that technology. Think about it. Instead of having to pay a real human beings a fair-ish amount of money for a creation, and that person has physical, mental limitation, and also some, life. So sometimes they would be limited by life, sometimes they would be limited by their physical health or mental health, their lack of creativity, lack of time. You would then have to pay a lot of money to pay other people to record it and edit it and produce it and mix it and master it. And then you have a whole lot of middlemen you could even cut, such as a manager, a producer, labels in some cases, publishers, when you could just create that exact same content, actually even more personalized for your audience, faster, at whatever rate you want it to be, and 1,000 times cheaper. Why on earth would you not want to invest in that? Because they are philanthropists and they care about art? Come on. I mean, we would know this by now if that was the case. CEOs of streaming platforms would not be underpaying all artists for the past decade while investing in AI piloted drones for warfare. I mean, you can't really go further away from philanthropy and passion for art than what they're doing. They obviously simply care about income, investors, and art is not even near the interest. And I mean, if the audience doesn't seem to care, because at the end of the day, this is where it could all change. But if people are happy to pay for this, and the audience don't seem to care whether it's AI generated or not, then why on earth would they not want to invest in this? And in fact, when you see Spotify's latest terms and conditions, it is obvious that this is going to be the direction they are taking. They clearly don't care about artistic property for artists, copyrights, and so on. They don't care about all of this. They clearly are preparing that platform to mainly contain AI music. And I think they're going to offer personalized, maybe even on-the-go AI generating on the go for certain moods or certain activities that their listeners want to consume the music for. And so human created music will simply struggle to even be and stay relevant within this AI world on these streaming platforms. Those platforms also seem to say that they have strict AI policies, but that's just not true. We even saw that artists, Velvet Sundown apparently was a mistake or whatever, but then still Ella Scott, who claimed to be a real artist, is AI generated music with AI generated image and pictures and personality. Everything is AI generated, still has a blue tick claiming that it is verified. It's not. It can't be verified. That person does not exist. And is listed as a real artist. So people will think that they are consuming real art, real music, when they're actually consuming AI-generated music. But I actually don't really think that people care. People don't seem to care. People already lost, as I said earlier, that whole sense of stealing someone else's work as being shameful and as infringing copyright as being shameful. All of this AI technology have been fed with music of thousands and hundreds of thousands of artists without their permission. And they've been training their AI model on this music without the permission of artists. Nobody cares, not labels, and clearly not the audience. They don't seem to understand what the problem is there. So they just want cheap music. And at the end of the day, this is what platforms are going to deliver if this is where a lot of money with next to no investment is. And the streaming model is not the only thing that AI has revolutionized, or some would say destroyed. I think it will also, if not it has already, reduced the trust that an audience has for the digital presence of an artist, a real one. Let's take Ella Scott's case again. She had a blue tick on all social media platforms. This means that it was supposedly verified that this person is who she says she is. That's what a blue tick is supposedly for. How can an AI artist, someone who does not exist in the real world, prove they are in fact the person they say they are? This is absolutely not okay. And it demolishes the whole purpose of a blue tick to start with. And it proves that basically social media platforms have an issue. They have an issue that anyone can pretend to be anyone. And we know it. They know it. They're trying to solve it by implementing this blue tick. Then they destroyed that one way of doing it just to make more profit. They say, what about that problem we have? We try to get money from people for it. So you have to pay, I can't remember how much it is. It is way too expensive to basically solve a problem that they are causing. And then we see that actually it does not even solve the problem. It's a complete lie too. It's just another way of making money. Because apparently any AI artist can have the blue tick. And this is just an example that no matter what you do online, now with AI, it's going to be extremely difficult, and it already is extremely difficult, to know what's real and what is fake. And this includes an artist post, an artist video, an artist song. We've also had cases of AI-generated song pretending to be a real artist. And she said, no, I've never released that music. That's not me. AI is just pretending to be me, releasing an album under my name and my style when it's not me. So we now no longer have any trust in what we can see on social media, because anyone can pretend to be anything and make it look like it's legit. So obviously you have a part of the population who doesn't seem to care about whether things are real or not. But there is a big part of the population who still cares. And they will obviously not trust in the artist they see online. So this has also been destroyed. Basically, two things that used to make an independent artist visible without being signed to a label, which is the streaming platforms, which made it easy for anyone to listen and have access to their songs and music worldwide, and social media presence. With a little bit of marketing skills and social media knowledge, you would be able to reach some audience anywhere in the world too, are now no longer trustworthy for that potential audience you're trying to reach as an independent artist. AI destroyed that too, and it will only get worse. Okay, so I've gone a bit deep in the grim side of AI and its effect on the music business, but it needed to be done. Because I think a lot of people, because they want AI to be a positive thing for the humanity, and they see a lot of potential and AI tools being very beneficial to them, they want AI to be just positive, and they tend to ignore all of the mess and the negative aspect that comes with it. And this is where it gets dangerous. You know, it's not because you don't acknowledge there is negative sides of something, that these negative sides go away. It's just that you won't be able to adjust with it. So most of the musicians who voted that their job was not at risk of being replaced by AI, I believe are in denial. We will inevitably, all of us, be affected one way or another by AI and all of the changes that it brings to the music industry. However, we know that when something is being destroyed, such as the streaming platform model, the entertainment industry seems to be taken over by AI, and also the trust online and the digital world, all of this is being shambled by AI. This is an opportunity to create something new out of it. And this is where my followers are right. I think the world will be divided in two sides. It's already the case, but this division will basically deepen. The side of the people who consume music, music consumers, and people who love music, the music lovers. They will not mix anymore, I believe. And you gonna have that music consumers completely happy to consume AI music all day long because they just want a little music that fits their mood and their activity, as mentioned before. And those streaming platforms will offer just that. Then you will have the music lovers, the ones who understand that music is a language. It is an experience and it is made to share, to reflect, and to bring something authentic, emotional, and genuine. And it is made to be consumed by humans, but made by humans. And those will need to go away from the digital world. As I said, there will be a lot less trust in it. And even the ones of them now who are aware of it, but they're being a little bit pragmatic and they just say, okay, yes, it's not perfect, but it's still very convenient. I think it's going to get worse and worse for them. And a lot of them will have to turn back to the live experience, and hopefully the live music experience will flourish. And then you're going to have the analog worlds, all the vinyl, the CDs. Actually, a lot more people buy vinyl now than they did before. They did 10 years ago. So it's a business that comes back. It's having a rebirth. And as an artist, I think there is still ways to stay relevant. But you will have very limited ways to do so. First of all, I think all entertainers should be aware of what I just said, because they will be the first one to be replaced. So here are the two ways I see musicians staying relevant in the future of the music industry as I see it. Firstly, they can offer a very unique and great quality live show with authenticity, something that AI can't compete with. And knowing that a lot of hologram shows now are considered as real shows, it's going to be tricky, but it's possible. A lot of people still love live music and what it represents, what it means, and the experience you get from it. And they probably even appreciate it more now than 15 years ago or so. Then the second way is to stop trying to make entertainment for the music. It's to actually go back to what we wanted to do at first, create art. Have something meaningful, with a lot of soul, genuine, authentic, innovative, challenging music that means something either to you or to the person who will listen to. That AI can't have that. AI can't have authenticity, or AI cannot have genuinity. It just can't. This is a human thing. So we have to go back to making real, authentic sounding music. artsy music. And I think a lot of genres will be a lot more prone to that than others. I think a lot of those genres are just easier to be artsy, a lot more freedom and a lot more genuine. But it's not exclusive to one genre, of course. And we still probably will create new genre. AI needs to feed constantly on new content. So we will need to generate new content even for AI to still exist and be relevant. There is no doubt that we will always have a place in society to create new human art and music. It's going to be also a lot harder for musicians to live off their music, not just because obviously most of the musicians who make a living out of it actually make a living out of the entertainment part of their job more than the art part of their job. The art part is usually just a passion project, let's face it. And now with copyrights going all over the shop with AI, it's not necessarily looking like it's going to get better and easier to survive from our art. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that the audience that know the difference will really make that difference. It's not going to be the musician's job here. It's going to be the audience job to make this shift happen for all of the musicians, all the artists, and all of the audience who want to remain consuming, I hate this word, but actually listening and enjoying real music made by real people and not just consuming some AI-generated music. But I guess only the future will tell us. So in the meantime, I shall see you at the next podcast and keep creating and stay weird.